Madam, if I can address your question just directly, it actually has more to do with an internal conversation that usually only happens within the military. There's a public face and then there's an internal dialogue. I'm going to use the word realpolitik to apply to it, but it's economic stewardship. If you accept that there are going to be assassination missions, whether they're flown with a pilot or otherwise, drones are far more economical. And if you notice, the drone escalation campaign coincided with the downturn of the domestic economy. There's a conversation that goes on as far as the procurement process and certain amount of money that the military needs to allocate to continue to keep the contracts going, the new development processes. And they realize that they can much more economically pursue the same missions, immoral or otherwise, with drones than they can do with live personnel. The term that often gets thrown around in the military, at least in numbers, it costs at least $1 million per service member to send them downrange into the combat zone. That's everything from tax incentives to logistical support to, just a comprehensive medical service, and that's not even counting annuities or combat tax pay or anything like that. So it's very expensive to send troops downrange. But if you can do fly-by-wire missions, immoral, illegal, I'm not justifying them in the slightest, but there's a certain thought that says if we get these orders, we're going to follow. And one of the things that happens is they say that it's good stewardship for us to try to do it with the drawdown in forces, with the drawdown in personnel. You can do it more economically. It's equivocation, absolutely, but it happens internally within the services. This is part of our own internal dialogue. It'll never hit the press. It'll never come out because we like to have maintained this facade of the, American troop triumphing and marching on. But internally, when we get in our cups on port visits, sometimes we talk about these things, and I think that's the answer that I can best give you at this time. I hope it helps.
Everyone's there's this focus with precision and pilotless, and this device can be reused. We can deliver the goods, get out, and come back, deliver back. But one of the ways that hasn't been brought up tonight, that the drones also can function, is where they're considered expendable. As in, it's quite probable that it was a drone that went into the Pentagon for 9/11. And we don't know about the Sharpeville, Pennsylvania site. It's not an area that the military is going to admit that they're using the drones to do something crazy. No one wants to even think about that. Your thoughts on that?
Well, on the issue of 9/11, you mentioned drone there. We definitely, as Americans, I think, need to keep demanding a real investigation of what went on. I mean, the pitiful little congressional investigation was outrageous, and one would think over time that if there was a government conspiracy on this thing, that